Hello, Mr. Wootla. It's Esther Searle here. I'm doing my Viva Voce. I'm going to do it on sleep disorders and psychoactive drugs and consciousness. Okay, so sleep disorders are disruptions to normal sleep, patterns that affect a person's physical, emotional, and cognitive functioning. In psychology, sleep is considered an important part of the overall consciousness. And so when we sleep, our pattern is disturbed. It affects how we think, feel, and behave. One of the most common sleep disorders is insomnia, which means having trouble with falling asleep, staying asleep, or getting restful sleep, sorry. People with insomnia often feel fatigued, irritable, or have difficulty concentrating, especially the next day. They experience a lot of stress and anxiety. And I feel that lifestyle habits play a huge role in well you sleep, how well you stay asleep. Yeah, having good sleep hygiene really helps, and also, yeah, keeping everything in check and not getting too wild, so you have a good restful sleep throughout your week. And if you choose to have fun on the weekends, well, that's a different thing. Um, okay, so another one is sleep apnea. So that's when you repeatedly stop breathing for short periods during your sleep, which can be very irritating for a partner, especially if you are lying in bed next to them. Um, it's also scary because it sounds like they're choking. So that can be very disturbing yet concerning. Um, and they don't even know what's happening. So sometimes, and the only way some people actually figure it out is by um, how tired they are the next day. They finally check in maybe with a sleep clinic and get that checked out because it can really cause havoc in the daytime and you have no idea why that's happening. Um, it also puts stress on your heart and, yeah, can be very dangerous if untreated. So it's very important. If you hear a friend or a child or anybody with that happening, you gotta let them know and get them sorted out. A third sleep disorder is narcolepsy. So it's a neurological condition. So where you just fall asleep suddenly. Could you imagine? That would be crazy. But it happens to people. So even during activities. So I could be sitting here, if I had an extreme case, that might happen. I just fall asleep. I did have a friend like that actually, and it was very interesting. So I would obviously make sure they were okay and wait till they came to. They had to look at that eventually for sure. Um, the sleep attacks are unpredictable and can be very disruptive in daily life, obviously, especially if you're driving. I'm not sure, actually, I have to look into this, but if driving is even allowed if you have narcolepsy, probably not, but that's interesting to check into. So yeah, these sleep disorders shows how important sleep is for our brains. Sleep helps with memory consolidation, emotional balance, and physical well-being, and healing and restoring the body. Yeah. So there's that. And somebody who isn't sleeping properly, their consciousness shifts. They may experience slower thinking, mood changes, or even hallucinations during severe sleep deprivation. I know I've heard stories, and yeah, people who are up for way too long, and basically it becomes very dangerous for them because they have lost touch of reality and what they're seeing and feeling and believing. And it can be very dangerous for them and the people around them. Okay. So understanding sleep disorders allows psychologists and health professionals to provide supports like sleep hygiene strategies, which is very important. Um, Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or medical treatments or conditions uh, like sleep apnea. Okay. So overall sleep disorders highlight how closely connected our biology, brain activity, and state of consciousness really are. Okay. Number two, Viva Voce, is psychoactive drugs and consciousness. So, second topic, I'm talking about psychoactive drugs and how they influence the consciousness. Psychoactive drugs are substances that alter brain chemistry, which means they directly impact our thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and your perception. Because they change how we experience and interpret the world, they create different states of consciousness. So I'm gonna just talk about the four main categories of psychoactive drugs right now. So we'll start with depressants, such as alcohol and what was it? Anti-anxiety medications. They slow down the nervous system, they reduce inhibitions and make people feel really relaxed. But they can also impair judgment and coordination. So very dangerous, again, while driving or operating any motor vehicle in general, being in charge of children, um, making actual smart decisions, maybe. Um, okay. So yeah, there's a lot of uh there's a lot going on with those depressants. A lot of people take them. They are what's the word? They are it I find alcohol is a crazy one because it's legal and it's everywhere and you can't even go to the freaking grocery store without seeing the liquor store, which is it can be an issue for some people. Um but it's it's legal, so people have that right at their fingertips. If and also they can be prescribed them, which is also very dangerous, especially when doctors just want to get loads of pills out there and keep their money rolling in. Anyways, okay, so moving on, we're gonna move on to stimulants. So stimulants, caffeine, nicotine, methamphetamine, cocaine, these increase activity in the nervous system. They heighten your alertness, attention, and energy, but only for a short while. And then you can crash pretty hard. There's a lot of anxiety, I know, related with those kind of things. People think they might be doing themselves a favor by like getting all hyped up and doing stuff, or they think they're gonna like be productive or proactive, but really it can just go 360, and that's not the way it goes. Um, and yeah, and you can create a dependence on it, which is very detrimental to your bank account and to the people around you who love you. So then there's opioids. Okay, so that's morphine, heroin, fentanyl. Um, I've lost a lot of friends to fentanyl in Vancouver. And that was very, very, very sad. And so, these things are just, they're pain relieving. So a lot of people live with pain out there. I don't know. And they create feelings of euphoria. Um, they're very highly addictive. They're very deadly. And they alter the brain's reward pathways, which can be very deceiving and very addictive. Yeah. Again, I just saw a lot of people go down and yeah, it's unbelievable, the epidemic with that. And then we come to last but not least the hallucinogenics. Oh well, sorry, hallucinogens. Like LSD, psilocybin, some mushrooms. Um, Psilocybin's kind of neat because it's natural, mushrooms are the network of our trees and all the forests and how they connect. So it's kind of neat. So it's kind of a smart Interesting. Uh, interesting. dr- Uh, drug or hallucinogen. It changes your perception and may cause hallucinations or shifts in sensory awareness. Um, they create some of the most actually dramatic changes in consciousness. You can get real wild with those. I know I've heard lots of stories. I've heard lots of people's I guess you would say trips. And so that's very interesting when, you hear these experiences when people have taken such things. I know there's DMT as well, dimethyltryptamine. It's a very interesting one that also will send you, I believe, into a whole nother galaxy if taken in a certain way, or a certain dose. Yeah. So, yeah, and the stories are wild. So that's very interesting. Okay, so these substances matter in psychology because they show how sensitive our brain is to chemical changes. Psychoactive drugs influence neurotransmitters, which means they can completely transform someone's conscious experience, whether by slowing it down, speeding it up, or altering how they perceive reality. Another key idea is tolerance and dependence. So over time, the brain adapts to presence of a drug, causing a person to need more and more of it to feel the same effects. When the drug is removed, withdrawal symptoms can happen, and that can be very hard depending on what it is you're withdrawing from. It can take more days, it can take less days, it can be way more intense, it can be not so bad. I mean, again, it just depends on your body chemistry and how much you're taking and of what. This shows how deeply psychoactive drugs interact with the brain and behavior. Okay, so overall learning about psychoactive drugs helps us understand both the risks and biological mechanisms that shape consciousness. It also highlights how important it is to support people who may struggle with substance use, and to understand how these drugs affect mood, awareness, long-term brain functioning. So I just want to say thank you for listening to me today with my Viva Voce. And these two topics, so sleep disorders and psychoactive drugs, both show how complex and interconnected our brain, body, and consciousness truly are. So thank you again for listening. I thank you for the extension on this. Yeah, and I wish you a very happy holidays. All right, Mr. Wootla, we'll see you next year. Or actually in the exam. Okay, bye.